We affirm, we believe that the resolution should be evaluated on two dimensions. First, the implications of continuing American
impact turning impact turning the economy. Collapsing the
This is what happens when you let the weaker debater give the second negative. That's what our
Debate is an ancient activity. We've argued our way throughout time, throughout history. In our democracies, we make our politicians battle it out in elections and in government, all in the spirit and purpose of the debate. We even use debate as a method to examine difficult questions and approximate the truth. As students who are presented with speech and debate opportunities, you're gifted with a space to learn, practice, and build the skills and habits that help maintain and advance this age-old tradition. Competitive debate is an increasingly unique activity, encompassing its own norms, rules, and institutions. And that sets a high bar for serious competitiveness, a new mountain to climb. But what if we threw that paradigm out the window, and instead of seeing debate as the flower that it's become, we start with the root of it all, and ask ourselves, fundamentally, what is debate? Everyone has some familiarity with how debates go, whether you've done them competitively or not. So let's focus on that first. Normally, when you think of a debate, you think of two sides being given opposing positions and they're told to battle it out in this clash of ideas. Each side or team makes their argument in timed segments or speeches, with the occasional moment where the two sides can speak directly to each other and go back and forth. We also assume that each side is being responsive to the other, that if one side says A is B, and that seems to matter to the discussion, that the other side might have something to say about that, and then the original side will defend the position that A is B, and so on. For example, if two political candidates are questioned on a topic about the economy, and the incumbent talks about how great the economy is doing as a reason to vote for them, we would expect that in a debate, the other candidate would want to give some response to that point, maybe denying how well the economy is doing, claiming there's some other force responsible, something to mute the value of the original argument given. A debate can encompass dozens of these back and forths, all trying to get us to answer some broad question. And then, at the end, the arguments conclude in favor of one side, the winner. And that's debate. Right? Not really. As much as the debate can be seen as an event between the debaters, this image is missing two important pieces. First, there's a judge, and the final decision of who wins goes through them and them alone. They are one of the 5 people who walk into every public forum round with an important idea of what debate is, and each person is going to have their own expectations and preconceptions about what good debating looks like. If we're going to focus on the judge, we need to appeal to their understanding of debate, not ours, not our opponents, not anyone else's. In that sense, winning the debate is not winning the exchange of arguments, but at a very basic level, it's winning the judge. The judge will perceive the debating that occurs between debaters, and winning is all about the judge's perception of that debate. Let's think of similar activities, where winning could be about someone else's perception of an event, and maybe not just the event itself. Gymnastics is a very technical sport. When judged at the highest level, there are intricate scoring systems that rank all sorts of moves and combinations. But when someone who doesn't understand all of that, like myself, watches a gymnastics routine, I can still walk away with some understanding of difficulty and grace, and I can probably even give a ranking of different routines if I was given some instructions, and that's even without all of that technical knowledge. We might still use the term gymnastics to technically refer to the execution of the sport, but the act of winning a gymnastics competition comes down to whoever the judge is. Now, luckily for professional gymnasts, they know exactly who they're competing for. Boxing is very similar. Every move is accounted for and used by actual judges in the event that a fight comes down to a result. It's very technical. However, you probably don't need all those fighting statistics to tell when someone is really winning a boxing match. And like gymnastics, there's a technical activity that the competitors need to master, and then they translate that to their judges. So, who are your judges in debate? Well, public forum debate is about public deliberation. It's about debating policy issues that impact and interest everyday people. Being everyday people in a debate setting, your judges are going to be interested in that technical side of the debate. Their focus is going to be on the arguments and the logics at play. However, they're also going to vary in their familiarity with the technical specifics of debate. Just like if I was asked to watch an Olympic gymnastics routine and had to score it alongside experienced judges. That divide in debate is commonly referred to as the lay tech spectrum, where judges who have more or less technical expertise are appealed to in different manners. Over time, the skills that you learn will be more or less applied across the spectrum, meaning you're going to want to adapt to the way you debate based on who your judge is. Mastering adaptation is about knowing when to use what skill that you've accumulated and kept in your debate toolkit over time. So that might seem like a lot, but how can we help ourselves be ready to do all of that? Everyone will tell you, or maybe they've already told you, to prep for your debate tournaments. Instead of thinking of prep as a pretext to the debate, think of the round as only an extension of what you start when you prep. The second aspect of debate that's often underconsidered is what goes into a debate round. Let's think of a basic form of this concept. If I have argument 1 or contention 1 that I always read in my constructive or my case, that's part of my prep. If in almost every round my opponents read the same response, it would probably be smart for me to either prepare for that response or preemptively respond to it in my case. So when this happens in round and I'm prepared, I'm already a step ahead. Either way, the actual debate that occurred was just an extension of one move we prepared beforehand. So debating, or the debate round as an event, starts before anyone enters the room. Your preparation is already active the moment your arguments are read out loud, containing the strategic value that you've organized in your case or rebuttal way beforehand. And because you can use what you've taken from one previous round or tournament to be better prepared for the next time, this is a cyclical process where you're continuously reviewing the strategies and the methods by which you're trying to win your debate rounds. But remember what we just covered right before talking about prep, that the judge is central to every image of a debate. So if we're going to be preparing for tournaments, for actual debate rounds, we need to orient our prep focus towards what our judges want and need. These two additions to our original image come together to form a pretty comprehensive starting point for how we can approach public forum debate. So, going back to the original question, what is debate? Debate is an activity where two sides come prepared to represent and debate opposing policy positions, using arguments to make, refute, and defend various points. Yes, there is a deep and intricate nature to the exchange of arguments themselves, but that's only part of the activity. To win, one must not beat the opponent or win the debate, but be winning to the judge, and that is not a secondary facet of the activity, but its debate itself. Let's think of an example that proves this concept. Let's say one team is beating another team on the arguments, and most people would probably say that's the case. But one judge happens to disagree, and they're the judge for that round. Is it better for that judge to be pushed or pressured into submitting the quote-unquote right decision instead of allowing themselves to make their own choice based on how they saw things? We wouldn't ever recommend a judge to submit a decision they don't believe in, even if it lines up with our understanding of debate. We expect the judge, through and through, to be obligated towards their actual opinion before everything else. That is debate. To be a great debater is thus to be the gymnast who can one night give a great performance for new audiences and another for the most experienced coaches and peers, leaving both in as much awe. There will undoubtedly be similarities and differences in the two performances, but to become that gymnast, to become that debater, you need to be able to do both. That's where we come in. In this series, we'll start with the basic image of debate, going over round structure, what exactly arguments are and how to make one, and then how to keep track of or flow all the arguments in a debate round. Next, we'll cover the 3 core pillars of debate: your judges, who they are and what it means to debate to them; topic preparation, all the work that goes into your research and speeches; and being strategic, the decisions that you make about what to argue and focus on when you're in round. Once that's covered, we can formalize our debate concepts in round by going over everything you do with the front half speeches, the back half speeches, and cross and prep time. And finally, we'll wrap the fundamentals up with a guide on organizing all of what goes into public forum and becoming intentional with your development as a debater. These 12 videos provide a comprehensive explanation of what public forum is, what skills to develop and how to do so, and beginning the process of maintaining that improvement for the long-term goal of reaching your potential. So stick around, you'll learn a thing or two.